It's the weekend. It's the weekend. Oh, I shouldn't sing. Although I started vocal classes, singing lessons with the amazing David Bickford on my desk. If you ever want to learn how to sing, he's your man. Okay, so it is Sunday. Woo! I'm here talking to myself. There's Doug. So it's actually, I know that we don't have a lot of people show up for these, so I'm not ever really worried. And I talk to myself all the time. I've heard it's a sign of intelligence. I'm going with that. So yeah, but people watch it after. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time like waiting. Kidding. Okay, so today we are going to give you three, my lord. We're going to give you three. I'm in a good mood. It's Sunday. I'm going to take Scruffles to Puddles. Such a cute little place. It's a doggy. It's a doggy. It's like, you know how you wash your car with those things? It's like that for dogs. You put your dog in the bin and then you wash the dog like it's a car. So cute. Okay, I digress. If you sign up for the course, I keep warning people because I really want you to be aware. Yeah, I talk about my dog a little too much. You can't talk about your dog too much. Okay, so today we're going to talk 3 tips for networking. They work across the board. I actually teach this as a course. I fundraise too to help nonprofits. You got to give back, right? So I teach this course for fundraisers on networking so that you can raise money for your organization. And I'm on boards of lots of nonprofits. I can speak. And so yeah, so I teach these to teenagers too. Actually, it's really interesting how to network. So I'm going to give you, oh, here comes Scruffles. I'm going to give you 3, I'm going to give you 3 tips for networking today. So it's a little more fun to talk about that. And I think I'm seeing people network in our Hollywood Gatekeepers private Facebook group. If you're not in there, why aren't you? If you're not in there, you need to get in there as soon as possible. I don't know. I do this on my computer. When I do it on my phone, I know how to like wear funny hats. But I haven't figured it out on my computer yet. Darn! I know you're like, dang! Okay, so anyway, just don't shout. So 3 tips for networking. So I'm gonna dive in, and I'm seeing people network in the private Facebook group. So that was kind of what sparked it. Doug and I and my other partner, we talked and we figured out kind of what we wanted to say about that. And I could go on, but I'm just gonna lay them out, kind of 3 tips to do it. So we're gonna start with the biggest secret sauce, biggest secret of all in Hollywood. It's the biggest tip you'll ever get. Whatever. It's whatevs. It's really, really, really important though. But it is huge secret. You'll never guess. Guess. Okay, no, don't guess. Guess, Doug. No, don't guess. He already knows. Here it comes. You ready? Be nice. You gotta be nice. Crazy, right? Yes, be nice. How hard is it to be nice? So we dive deep. I totally monologue you. That's what my son calls it. So I do a whole monologue on being nice because it's so important. And it's now with social media, you've got this weird thing where you can say things that are super personal and super far away at the same time. Well, poor teenagers, my head would spin with the dating world today of how people like, they say these really personal things where you're like, oh, you totally cringe, right? And yet it's like to millions of people. There's 500 million people on Instagram. And so it kind of amazes me, actually, how hard it is for people to be nice. And I've noticed I'm in a lot of different groups, which is another thing you should do, join online groups. And I comment a lot on things. And, you know, I'm always, because in order to do this course, I had to learn how to do online things. So I'm in a lot of online marketing groups, online, how to do online courses, how to do Facebook, all these groups. So I'm in all these groups. I'm learning all these platforms, Thinkific and ClickFunnels and all these different platforms, right? So I'm in all these different groups, Easy Webinar, all these stuff. So I'm watching as people comment, and I try to be nice and, you know, put my 2 cents in, and then I ask questions every once in a while. But I don't go in there and just only say, hey, I need this and I need that and I need this. I try to, as I learn things, I go in there and try to provide value of what I learned. So I'm amazed at how the bigger the group, As the groups grow, they get less and less and less nice. Not sure if that's the right way to say that, but it's true. The more people that are in the group, kind of the nastier it is. So I'm bent on making our Hollywood Gatekeepers group is going to be nice. And if there's someone in there that's not being nice, they're out. So that is kind of a number one priority for us. And it should be for anyone. But yeah. So you can like things and not like things. You can really hate a movie. I mean, really hate it. But you don't have to be mean to the person just because you didn't like it. And sometimes there's movies that are Oscar winners, huge successful movies that people hate. Just ask Doug how he likes The Notebook. But that's a great movie. It's not his taste. But he's always nice about it. He doesn't sit there and bag on the people that are in it or made it. That's ridiculous. I mean, the people do movies for a lot of different reasons. And sometimes I see people bag on like actors. This is a great... I'm so glad I thought of it. It's so smart. This is a great example. So people sometimes they bag on actors, and I have a lot of actor friends that are working. I have a few that are celebrities, and people bag on them for choices that they make, like hardcore sell out. You sold out. You hear that a lot, and you hear that a lot. That writer's a hack. You hear it a lot, and it's not very fair because you don't know what's going on in that person's life. So maybe they did sell out. Maybe they did a movie that, the ever-loving dollar was just, they have a kid who has medical bills. You don't know what's going on in that person's life and why they made a choice to do that movie. So maybe they're making the best situation they can out of something. You don't know what the situation is. So if you go in and bag on someone for doing that, that says more about you than them, because you're not putting yourself. Golden rule. Put other people's shoes on, okay? That's my monologue. And so you don't know why someone might do that. Another reason actors pick projects, you're going to love this, to help their friends. Sometimes their friend is trying to get their movie off the ground. And they're like, ugh, all right, I'll do your movie. Even though it's, not the greatest movie. I see there's problems in the script, but I'll do it because you need me. You don't know why they're doing that part. They might be trying to help someone. They're just helping their friends. They're trying to help people, or sometimes it's not even friends. Sometimes it's a writer they know that they believe in, who's a young writer that's trying to get off the ground. They'll do things to help people. And often, very often, a young producer will be getting started, and often it's a producer, writer, director, and they're getting their film off the ground. They get an actor to do it, and then they start getting bigger and they start getting on all these other projects. Now they're bringing on new writers and they're bringing on new people. And so they ask that original actor to help them to help these people too. So this actor ends up doing a lot of projects, which is great. They get to work, but some of the projects can be dicey. So should you hack them for it? Should you tell them how awful they are? No. Be nice. And often, mostly, it says, again, more about you than it does about them. It's kind of Paul McCartney. He's this guy, he was in this band. He's saying on, oh shoot, and now I'm going to butcher it because Bruno Mars maybe? I think he's saying on a current artist's record, and they were kids, so I'll give him a little bit of leeway, but social media went nuts with like, boy, that Paul McCartney, he better thank this guy for the start in his career at his age. He's an old man. Boy, I don't know where they got that Paul McCartney guy, but he can't sing. I mean, seriously. So what did that say about the person? And that's how they talk too. Sorry. So what did that say about the person? It said more about them than it did about the comments they were making about the record. So keep that in mind. That's my monologue for the day. But it does. And if you do that, I see people comment on writers, and sometimes movies are made from plays, and sometimes those plays are Pulitzer Prize winning plays, and the author is long dead, and the person is talking about how that screenwriter can't write. Okay, I'm moving on. All right, so tip number 2. Dream, my Lord. Okay, I hope you get that joke. It's one of my faves. I almost named my son Thelonious. I almost did. Theo's cute, right? It's not Thelonious. The family shot it down. Find a common, I gave you a little glimpse into the third tip. The second tip is to find a common connection. There's the spray and splay way of, telling people about yourself. So, like I said, join these private Facebook groups. It's one of the best ways to get to meet people. There's a bajillion of them out there for writers, and Well, actually, there's one that I know for readers, ours, but there's a lot out there for writers. So, and I'm seeing people start in our group to network, which is great, fine. And I'm seeing kind of like, hey, you want to read my screenplay? Hey, here's this. Hey, look at what I'm doing. Hey, we don't allow ads. Like if you have an ad saying, you know, you're really selling something, we don't want people to, then you know what you get when you put an ad in? People just scroll right by it. They're not going to see it anyway. So we don't want our page to become ads. We want it to be people talking to each other. I love that I'm using my computer. So we want people to be able to talk to each other. So if you go in and say, and some people are doing this, and if you're in there and that's you, it's totally fine. We're all learning, it's all cool, and it's working. Like people are responding. Someone's saying, hey, you want to read my screenplay? Who wants to read my screenplay? And people are responding and they're saying, yeah, I'll do it. So that's cool and fine. It will be better for you as you move forward in your career, either as a writer or a reader, to find the common connection. So let's say you find a group like Craig Jones. Hi, Craig. He's in the Hollywood. I don't know if he's on this page, but he's in our private group. Join the group. I don't know Craig at all. I just know that I did the recent trip to London and I do these videos of me kind of rambling like now. And in the videos, he knows London. So he's been telling me what things are. So it's been great. And it's so nice, and he's super nice, and I just go, hey, and he like says, oh no, you know, the difference between a mall and arcade, you know, it's really fun. So I know his name now because he's been doing that. That's a prime example of finding a common connection. If you go into a group, and you scroll through the members, when we invite members into our group, we ask you, what is your name, where are you from, and what's your favorite movie? Right there, that gives you a possible connection to someone. Look, see if someone's in your neighborhood. They might be. See if there's some movie that connects you. And it's really not 6 degrees of separation. It's like 2. And in the group, the teenager course that I teach, I actually pick people and I put them together and random people that don't know each other. And within minutes, they find something like a real thing. Not like, loving the same movie is something, but I'm talking about, oh my gosh, we were on the same Little League team and they didn't even know it. You know, things, you can really dig and you can find, you know, hometowns in common and, you know, really big things in common. Once you make that connection, then it's much easier to provide value or get things or whatever, make the exchange of whatever it is that you're in there for. So as you become a reader and you're looking for work, this is something we teach in the course as well. We go even deeper into, you know, making the connection with someone and then, providing value with them and then really like understanding what it is that they want and really providing that for them rather than the spray and splay style of just throwing your work out there. So, and the other thing that I want to say about that, sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second because I thought I heard someone at the door. This is one of the pitfalls of working at home. That's a whole nother thing, is like distractions at home and how the dishes really need to get done and so you don't get any work done. So anywho, is that once you make that connection, you should be ready. So here's a great little story of that. So I worked with Constantine Films. They did Traffic, lots of great movies. A German company, hilarious guy that owns it. German man, just really gregarious and awesome. His wife, like super sweet, and I did many writing projects with her. I mentioned doing some writing projects. She's one of the ones that had asked me to write. So I worked with her very closely, and she was looking for writers. This is so great. To write, she wanted to start a group where she could have this pool of writers she could pull from. So, you know, I was like, this is it. I've got this great, I'm going to open the door for so many writers. So I'm also part of a theater company. I'm part of a lot of different groups. I reached out to every writer I know. Look, we're going to have a meeting at this day. She's going to come. And she came. She held up her end. And I was in a writers group. We're going to have it at my writers group so she can meet all these writers. A lot of those writers were playwrights. So she wanted to meet them anyway, because if anybody wanted to make the leap into screenplays, she wanted to meet them. Big time, lots of money producer, right? So I invited all these people. Some of these people actually were writers that served on panels and were also readers and were really engaged and taught like how to network and like all this stuff in Hollywood. I bring them all up. She picks a few. Not one, well, no, just one. One of all of those people, they were ready. And that's the thing. You need to be ready. If you're going to call a producer and say, hey, I'm going to read for you or whatever, you're trying to work that out, and you don't have a sample coverage or a good one, you need to be ready. If you're going to say to a producer, and I did pitch fests, and people would come and they'd tell me their ideas, and they would say that they'd have this great idea, and they'd say, oh, give me the script. Oh, yeah. They hadn't written it yet. And it was like, why are you doing this? Why? So then it's like, you write them off, man. They're gone. It moves fast and it's competitive. And if you're not ready, if you say, hey, you get this one shot for someone to read your screenplay, and then you're like, well, I need to do a rewrite, which is what all those writers did. I got to rewrite. I'm not quite ready. I don't know. One person came through. You know who that person was? Doug Shaner. One person. I'm pointing at the screen where he's making comments. So yes, you need to be ready. It's very important. So that's my little soapbox for number 2. You got to find that common connection, like a real connection, like for reals. So then when you're scrolling down, you make that connection, it's going to mean something, and you're going to remember that person. Okay? 3, my lord. So the third one is provide value. Yeah, you don't go in and go, hey, here I am, here's my thing, look what I'm doing, it's me, woo, look at my thing. You go in and go, hey, what do you need? What can I provide for you? And this is, honestly, this is how we are creating this course. We say this to each other every day, multiple times. How can we provide value? Wait, we're getting off track. We're starting to go down this path. How is that providing value? And we come back. Sometimes, and you've seen my squirrel thing, I do that. Doug's always like, focus. And he's like, come on, he's so great at that. He's so sweet. And he keeps me very focused. And then he goes, this is what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to save the world. We're not trying to I'll go on these tangents of all these things that we should be doing. And he's like, this is what we do. This is how we're providing value. And he keeps us on track. So you need to provide value for people. So you go into these Facebook groups. There's nothing worse than a Facebook group where people, like, for instance, are trying to learn marketing, or a better example is trying to learn a website platform like Thinkific or something. And they're just like, I have this problem, and I have that problem. They're constantly asking people to solve their problems. And they're never once going in to look at what other problems, then they learn something, they solve their problem. Go in and share what you just learned with someone else who's struggling. So I tend to, like, in my, it's kind of after my morning routine, I spend a few minutes doing some social media, and then, but on social media, I'm going through, I'm commenting on what people are doing. I'm trying, and our group has been moving really fast lately, but I'm trying to get in there and get to know people and comment in our group and in other groups that I belong to. So provide value, go in and comment on people, compliment them, get to know them. But let me just be sincere. Very important. If you're in there, just commenting on stuff, you can tell when someone's sincere or not. And if people are doing it because they want to sell something, you can see that. So just be really sincere. Get to know people just like it's your neighbor, be nice. And so I have a great story about that. So this is a great example, actually. That's why I wrote it down. So see, I do focus. I can focus. I can write notes. Okay, so this is a great example of this. So I worked for James Cameron's company, right? I'm talking about sincere. That guy is so sincere, super nice, really sweet guy. I've also worked with Lily Tomlin, another woman who's really, really incredibly normal and nice. I was good friends with Kathy Houston, who was on Desperate Housewives with her. So that's kind of how I know Lily. I'm not sure how well she would know. She helps us fundraise for my theater company. So I know she'd know my company. She'd probably know of it. It's not like we're not pals. I have pals that work, but she's not one of them. But I have worked with her. She's super sweet. But my point is, she's very genuine. James Cameron is really genuine. And again, I don't know him well enough to go, hey, Jim. But I worked with him for a long time, worked at his office for a long time. He has the big, literally, he's like a gigantic child. And the other cool thing, well, he's been married many times. That's not, it was coming across a little weird. He's been married many times, but he marries these just powerhouse women, Catherine Bigelow, Gail Ann Hurd, Linda Hamilton, like these women. And he like, back in 20 years ago, when it was hard for women to become directors, he helped them. So I love that. And he's been married. I think they're still married. He's been married for a long time for his current wife, and she's lovely, and we have kids the same age, whatever. So, but He's got the big Titanic, the literal, the, what do you call it? The wheel from the ship, I'm sure. Is it called that? In his office. You can stand there and be king of the world. And the sword that Arnold Schwarzenegger gave him, like, and the Terminator robot, the first one that gets smushed, is in his office. And so it's like he's like a big kid. He's got all this stuff. And my story editor there, even talking about big kids, he's even bigger. He has, like, he's a total Comic-Con kind of guy. Well, actually, he left there and went to Marvel. Makes total sense because it was great. I'd bring my son in and he had all these action figures. So my son would play with all the action figures while we talk about scripts. But great. Just talk about your normal people. Really great guy. He went on to become a producer at Marvel, and now I believe he's producing his own things. So super cool guy. I'm going to try and get him to do an interview with us. But anywho, so anyway, so coming back to, kind of being your normal nice self, is that we had an office Christmas party at Cameron's company. He had a small office, cool office in Santa Monica, and we did it around a conference room. And I knew a couple people, not a lot, and I was nervous, felt like a geek, whatever. And so I had baked all these Christmas goods. It was catered. It wasn't a potluck, but I baked all this. I'd bake at Christmas time, fudge, cookies, whatever. And I like it, and other people like it. And so I brought all this stuff, and then I got cold feet when we got there, and I was like, oh, this is stupid. I'm not bringing this. And I got to hand it to my husband because he was like, are you kidding? People love fudge. Bring it. You're bringing it. And I was like, no, it's dumb. He's like, nope. It's got tin foil over the top. It's like, I at least should have put it in something nicer. And he's like, oh, just relax about yourself. So we brought it in, and I got to hand it to him. He nailed it. It was homemade goods, and that's kind of rare in Hollywood. So that became a thing. Then every Christmas I had to bring in the baked goods, and that became a thing everywhere I worked. So it was such a hit there that I was like, well, maybe I'll do that. And still to this day, people go, hey, how are you? I miss your cookies, like that, because it was a normal, nice way to connect. So that's just a little story about, it doesn't matter, how big the company is or what's going on, that normalcy and that way of connecting to people that's sincere goes a very long way. So providing value for people is really, really important. So those are kind of the 3 tips. You need to be nice, and they all go together, right? You want to connect with people on a personal level, and you want to provide value. So those are the 3 ways that will help your career, will help you network with people. And so when you're in these groups, find ways to people that's normal and nice and common things. There's one I just joined the course. Her name is Erin, and she commented on my name, which I will explain. Carolyn, I haven't had a chance to explain to her yet. It's actually not my in the Actors Guild. If someone has your name, you can't have it. I know, right? So my acting name is Erilyn. So some people know me as Erilyn. I'm like schizophrenic. It totally fits, right? So some people know me as Erilyn. Some people know me as Carolyn, and so I have both names in there. So, but she did the cutest little post about how Carolyn Erilyn would be great to name your kids names that rhyme, and I was like, oh, that is cool. So yeah. So Erin is actually not my middle name. My middle name's Joan. Not quite as cool. But yeah. So, that was a great way. She's connecting in just such a lovely, cool, fun way. There's so many things you could do. So my kind of last little, I'm kidding. I'm going to cough. I'm going to look at, and you're going to see me look at them. Yeah, kind of my last little thing is that when it comes to these rules and celebrity, times it by a bajillion. And something to remember about celebrity, I like I said, I've worked with celebrities. I have some good friends, really good friends that are very famous, and they get bombarded all day, every day with requests, people shout. You're walking on the street and they're like, hey, and that's why you see celebrities like this. We know that the people are paying their paycheck. We know the public is the important thing, and they get that, they get it. But it's hard. It's just human nature. When someone screams at you, you don't really want to pal up to them. And people stop me because I'm not recognizable, and they say, hey, do you think they'd mind if I talk to them? I'm like, it's right there. So it's a interesting, celebrity is such a weird thing, and it's been hard because you lose friends when you become a celebrity. Sometimes you lose your inner circle because a lot of dynamics change, and it can become, there's so many things that happen, and so their lives drastically change, and it's very isolating because you end up being sort of a prop. It's like people just want to take their picture with you, and you're kind of like, huh, and they don't know you, and you don't know them, and then they leave. And so there's this weird lack of connection. So that's fine. That's fine with fans. And most celebrities are pretty gracious about it unless they're trying to have a private moment with their family or whatever. So, and even when they are, most celebrities are pretty cool about, stopping for a moment, whatever. And that's kind of a different thing. But when you're trying to work in this environment, if you act like that within your job and you're working with celebrities, it can really hinder your ability to stay working. Again, they'll just stop calling. So all of these things really, really apply when it gets even bigger. And so I'm actually pretty protective of the people that I know well, and I don't share a lot about my life with them because I'm protective of them. They have enough people bombarding them. So that's my little talk about that. All right, so I think that is it. So what are you going to do, right? You're going to be nice, right? Mama Bear saying to be nice. And you're going to find a common, honest, sincere connection, and then you're going to provide value for people. If you do that, sky's the limit. It's true. I really wholeheartedly believe that. All right, that's my total soapbox today. Hope it's helpful. Definitely check out the course. If you go to our Thinkific site, I put the link up there. Actually, it's down there, I think. You can look at all the things that we offer. Cart closes tomorrow, and then we get started with our new class. And today, our first students, you're going to get your first script to cover. Exciting. So I'm going to post that in there today. And we do Facebook Lives in there, too. So if you are not in the private Facebook group for Hollywood Gatekeepers, please get in there. If you haven't joined the mailing list, join the mailing list. This is your homework. And if you want to check out the course that we have, there's the free workshop is on that page. There's the video, you get to see Scruffles. That's the best part. And then it lists it lists some of the things that are in the course. We're putting more stuff every day. It's probably about half of what will actually end up in the total course. So that's where we're at. Leave your questions. We've got one more of these lovely Facebook Lives tomorrow at noon, and then the cart closes tomorrow night. Woo-hoo! Hey, all right. I think that's it. I'm just going to look real quick. It is like herding cats. Doug's so smart. Okay. See you guys mañana. That's my Spanish. It's pretty lame. Bye. Oh no, I'm pushing on my screen. Crap. That's not how you do it. It's not a phone. This thing won't work. I'm pushing finish. Click. Bye.